gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Shaka Hislop, who is the Honorary President of Show Racism the Red Card, which we're very happy to support. Shaka Hislop, for those who don't know, is a former Premier League goalkeeper who played for Reading, Newcastle, Portsmouth and West Ham. Shaka also played in the World Cup for Trinidad and Tobago. In January 1996, Shaka helped found Show Racism the Red Card, which is now the leading anti-racism education campaign in the United Kingdom. Show Racism the Red Card have educated over 1 million adults and young people in their 28-year history. Shaka is Honorary President of Show Racism the Red Card and a member of the Charities Board of Trustees. And Shaka, there is many a time you have broke my heart when you played a Goodison with those big hands of yours, preventing us getting 3 points. Please show your appreciation for Shaka Hislop.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thanks everybody at the POA conference today. If it's any comfort, Mr. Chair, the most goals I've ever conceded in a Premier League game was at Goodison. It was 7 at some point that I'm trying to forget. So I share in some of the, well, maybe successes, but more so the miseries that I experienced at Goodison myself. Thank you very much for having us. And I'll say up front, thanks very much to the Prison Officers Association for your support over the years. As was mentioned, Show Racism the Red Card over the last 28 years has grown to become the UK's largest anti-racism charity. I wish I could say I knew exactly what we did right over those years, but what I do know is without the support of organizations such as yours, we wouldn't be able to boast the proud history, the milestones that we've accomplished over those 28 years. I'm wearing a t-shirt that we printed, it was about March of last year, just as we crossed the 1 million person threshold. Young people and adults who've been through one of our education programs. We're at about 1.3 million people now. We're at just under 1.1, but just to put that into context, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Our population is 1.3 million people. So to be able to sit here and boast of those numbers seems a little bit surreal to me. Through the 28 years of our organization, probably the question I've been asked most is there still a need for organizations such as ours? The complacency around the progress that we make in our communities, in our workplaces, is easy to kind of accept and move on from that and dismiss as, well, things were better than they were 10 years ago. Things were better than they were yesterday. I think 2020 served as a harsh reminder to all of us that progress is hard fought and easily dismantled, easily ignored. Coming out of the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement in the wake of the George Floyd murders and on this side of the pond, I think it reminded us all that regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your race, how you identify, how you love, how you worship, your gender, that equality affects us all. And it's only when we have equality for each of us that we get to recognize the best of each of us. That has been our calling for some 28 years. This organization started on the back of a racist incident that I was subject to back in 1995, just after I joined Newcastle myself. Our response then as an organization and as a team was to go into our local communities to speak to school children about our own experiences around racism and race, around diversity in our workplace. And to put that into its simplest context, no one will build a team of 11 strikers. That you may win a couple of games, but it won't get you very far in the longer term. So there has to be an ingrained diversity in just simply skill sets and playing positions to build any successful football team. And you find those same ingredients in every single walk of our lives today, certainly in our professional lives. That diversity of our skill sets, of what we're good at, of the things that we can speak closest to, is how we get the best out of ourselves and each other in a workplace. Understanding that diversity and the strength of it is what gets us to that utopian ideal of true equality. The biggest challenge for our organization over those years is, what are the performance indicators? Given that we work so closely and our primary focus is on young kids in schools, what's the takeaway? And that has been the challenge. And for us, we only start to recognize the value of the work that we do 20 or 30 years' time, when those young kids grow to be adults, when they grow to be members of our society, and how they take on the challenges of the day. That's difficult to put into a PowerPoint presentation or some kind of a pie chart. Probably the story I like to tell most about some of those successes. Justin King, one of our lead educators, spoke about going into a school and working with a class, and the teacher in that class was very hands-on and helping with not just the educators who were there, but helping with the kids. And she was really motivated and excited to be a part of everything that was happening that day. And it was only after Justine was saying, listen, thanks, we really appreciate all your help and all that you've been able to do for us during the course of the day. And the teacher says, I did this program some 20 years ago. I remember it and I remember the impact that it had. There is nothing that is more rewarding for us in recognizing a change that was started in a seed that was planted some 20 years ago, and how it manifests itself today and how it continues to impact the next generation. There could be nothing more powerful than that. I will close in saying that I truly believe that the greatest calling of our humanity is in planting that seed for someone else to live under its shade. Someone we may never know, we may never meet, we may never get to truly appreciate their own journey or their need for that cooling shade. But here we are, giving the best of ourselves in the most difficult of times, in a belief that we all have a part to play in shaping the world that our kids will inherit. Thank you for that. Thank you for your efforts. It's only through the efforts such as the Prison Officers Association and so many other trade unions and organizations that we are able to be here and boast of our own milestones, boast of the work that we've been able to do. It is through your own efforts in your workplaces that we have the greatest of impacts. So I'll close, Mr. Chair, by just thanking all of you for all that you've done, all that you continue to do in an effort to make your workplaces, your communities, your country all the better in a time that we may never experience, we may never fully enjoy, but it is in that great calling of our humanity that you continue to give of yourselves. And in following your example, we promise to do exactly the same. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Shaka. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really grateful for your time to address conference. I'm sure you're in a sunnier place than we are. And I can assure you that everybody on the conference hall is working tirelessly in their workplace and in their communities to eradicate all forms of discrimination, bigotry and racism. And we're proud as a union to be able to support you and your colleagues on Show Racism the Red Card. Conference, Shaka Hislop.
Thank you very much.